respected teacher, dear brothers, dear sisters, and dear everyone. Today, I think we are so lucky that we have four of us up here and only under 25 is down there. I think it's easy work for us today. And this morning we will have a session of question and answer. I think all of you know us up here. On my right, brother Phap, and myself, brother Chinh Quang, and my left, sister Nghiem, and next to sister Nghiem, sister Nghiem. And today you have chance to ask the question for us. If you are ready, you can come up here. We have chair and microphone over there. You can ask the question. And if you still be shy to go up here, you can stay down there and ask the question too. And another way, you don't want everyone know you. You can write a question and pass to us, and we can answer the question. You can ask the question about the practice, about the difficulty in your family, in yourself, and you can also ask the question for your friends. If they have a difficulty with her family or his family, you can ask the question for them. And you ask the question. Example, if you have question, the Uncle Google can answer for you. You don't need to ask for us. You can ask the question. The Uncle Google cannot answer that question, and we try our best to answer the question. And you will first, and please come up here and ask the question. Do you have anything to add? If you don't have any question, we will have some question for you. And we have only 1 hour this morning.
I have just one question. Concerns what do they call them? Laptops or whatever. We do meditate here, and it wouldn't be right for someone to come in here with a laptop, with that mouse thing. That constant clicking is very disturbing and distracting. So is there any possibility in a way that we could, I don't know, without sounding as if I'm a lawyer or a cop or something, confine or restrict them to some? The laptops with the mouse, click, 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 and you're trying to meditate, and this click, 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 click in your ear. So could we, I don't know, either confine them, restrict them, or stop them? After all, we are here to commune away from the outside world, let's say. So why bring it in here with us? That's my question.
Dear respected Tay, dear brothers and sisters, dear friend, thank you for the question. It was hard to hear, so the question was about having some kind of guidelines for the use of spaces like the meditation hall, so we don't bring in distracting things like laptops or things that cause noise. Yes. So in the monastery especially, we try to be attentive to not only the sounds that we make, but also the sounds, how we receive sounds, so that we can try our best to cultivate a peace of mind. So ideally, a practitioner, a good meditator is not distracted by anything. Hurricane could happen and no problem, but we're all on the path. So we do have guidelines, and we usually, during orientation, we ask our friends who come to practice with us to observe a little bit of these guidelines to help everyone out. So those spaces that are nobly silent, that's a way that we help maintain a more quietude in the community. In general, the meditation halls are spaces that we would call sacred, where we recognize there's a place in the kitchen we cook, in the dining hall we eat. In the meditation hall, it's a space for activities like a Dharma talk or meditation. So with that understanding in the community, we all try our best to maintain this space as that sacred space to support our practice. That's why we don't bring food into the hall unless it's a Sangha activity. So if we find that in our room or among our fellow brothers and sisters, maybe someone may have forgotten some of the guidelines, then there are a couple ways that we can skillfully support their awareness. One is, first of all, we set a good example ourselves. And secondly, we can find a good time to perhaps remind them or ask them if they're aware that the time is silent time, or that this space is in need of a little bit more support on their part. And overall, in the community, when we share reminders, my experience has been that the least helpful thing is to share from a place of anger, irritation, or harshness. Sometimes as elder brothers and sisters, we try to uphold certain standards, but sometimes there's a kind of energy of strictness or harshness that comes through. This may sometimes show up in our families as well, with parents and children. And often there's a reaction that comes when we share about these guidelines. Actually, these guidelines are things that are to support everyone's practice, the person sharing as well as the person being shared to. But as our pride sometimes is involved, so when we share from a place of irritation, sometimes the person who hears cannot hear the message, but they feel the energy. On the other side, we are attentive to the sounds that we make. We try not to be so noisy, but we're also attentive to how we practice with sound, and this is an ongoing investigation for me. I'm very sensitive to sound, but I've learned that if you try to damp down the sounds everywhere around you, you just go crazy, because you cannot control your environment, but you can control your way of reacting to the environment. So you'll notice in the meditation hall, people come in, they come out. In the dining hall, we eat, and then we have silence, and then there's talking. And all these spaces are practices, are chances for us to practice to be equanimous when there's sound, and equanimous when there's no sound, so that our peace of mind can not be so dependent on the outside conditions. Thank you for your question.
Dear friend,
Hi there.
if you don't mind, you can come up here.
Okay. Hi. Um, I was wondering if you could speak a bit about the significance of the altar there, please. I would like to learn more about it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I try my best to answer the question. In in the Asia culture, and mm, beside that, in Vietnamese culture, every family they have a altar like that. If they have the altar, mm, if they have the parents or ancestor pass away, they make the table like that to remember their ancestor. And when we build a monastery, every Buddhist monastery, we have the table like that to for us one place to meditate or to praise. Uh, and some monastery in the U.S. we don't have a Buddha statue in up there, but in here we have a Buddha statue up there. In Deer Park, only we decide to put only the flower or the tree and the plant, the green plant up there, and easy for everyone to come in and touching the earth or the do meditate. And someone they are in Catholic, they so uncomfortable to do the touching the earth with front of the Buddha. and and here we have Buddha, but everyone have Buddha inside, everyone have a ancestor inside. That's why we have a table like that, we have altar like that to remember our ancestor. Our spiritual ancestor is the Buddha. Our blood ancestor is the parents or grandma or our ancestor inside of us. Do you want to add something more, sister? It's okay.
Dear friends, thank you for doing this for us. My question is about friends out there who want to develop a practice, but they get discouraged and they cannot seem to invest in making it a habit. How best to encourage them?
Dear Thầy, dear brothers and sisters, dear friends, I'm very happy that you come this time. And we are having a very cozy time, environment here, even though it's snowing a lot outside. We are enjoying our presence with each other. We spending some precious time exchanging, practicing with each other, asking questions from the heart, and receiving some sharings from the brothers and the sisters. And I guess you've been here for a couple of days and enjoying the practice of sitting meditation, eating meditation, walking meditation. For me, myself, those practices help me a lot to cultivate the energy of mindfulness and draw myself in the present moment, anchoring my mind in whatever that I'm doing, whether it's working meditation, cooking meditation, anything. So I benefit from the practice, and I guess the friends here, when you come here, you practice with us, and you benefit also with all the activities, with all the energy that we've been generating with each other. So the happiness, the peace comes from us first. You are the ambassador of the practice. Yes. I hope you can bring some home, something just one at a time. For example, before I became a monastic, I could only practice walking meditation when I get back home. So bring something and find that nourish you. And when you feel the joy, the nourishment, your close friends, your family member will inherit from your practice, from the energy of mindfulness, of peace, of happiness. And then they will ask you, and you bring them here. 1 person, 2 person, 10 person. And then when we have a Sangha, we can practice together, or we can build a connection with the brothers and the sisters here. And I hope someday you can invite us to your Sangha too. Yeah, it all starts from us, but together we can do big thing together. Thank you.
So, dear community, Clytie, I'm going to put you on the spot. So Clytie has been with the community for near the beginning. When we opened in 2007, shortly after Clytie came. So she is our long-term practitioner, a lay practitioner at Blue Cliff. So monastery life is very supportive of the practice, but it's not easy. Sometimes it's not easy on different aspects, and sometimes it's not easy to maintain a practice, even in the monastery, in terms of our inspiration, in terms of looking more deeply to move forward more deeply in our practice. And so for many, to piggyback on the question that our friend just asked, I'm wondering if, Clytie, if you would be happy to share a few things that you see has continued to help you be inspired to live the practice, to live in community, and to deepen in your practice.
Dear friends, the first thing that helps me is by wearing wacky clothes like this to keep my happiness. I try to find joy every day, and so sometimes just wearing this funny little jumpsuit makes me smile. And I was not a very happy person when I first came to the monastery almost 12 years ago. I suffered from a lot of depression, a lot of anger, and self-loathing. I really truly thought that maybe I would be kicked out of the monastery because my habit energies were so strong that I had a little bit of a lot of a belligerent attitude. But I would have to say that despite some of my reactions, the love and the support from the brothers and sisters, their understanding of this practice and what I might be going through, they let me stay. And it's kind of a joke in my family. They said, "Oh, I can't believe you're still there. I'm so surprised that the monastics didn't ask you to leave." I had to do many, many, many beginning anews with the sisters and brothers because of my inappropriate behavior sometimes. But it was all such a major learning process for me. And yesterday we studied about the stopping and the deep looking. And I would have to say this practice is about that for me. Is stopping and looking into myself. And then with the practices that I've been given, there's been great transformation going on in me and still going on in me. And I know I still have a lot of work to do. And so, but I'm so much more happy. I wake up in the morning with a smile on my face, for the most part, most days, you know. Like any human, we all have days that are not perfect, but I know that, and I know that there's days I have to be very careful because I know I have to always look in my heart and in my mind and in my body to see how I'm feeling every day. And if I'm feeling a little kind of maybe grumpy, I have to be very, very careful how I interact with others in the community because I know that I can be maybe inappropriate, so I step back and breathe and maybe spend a little more time with myself. The other thing that's been helpful is when I feel like I'm stepping back on my practice, I have a little talk with myself and I go back to the beginner mind and say, okay, you're slacking a little, you're starting to maybe not go to an activity or two, you know, which I know can be progressive. And I know that if I stop doing one activity, you know, there'll be another and another. So then I go, I have to go back to my practice and sort of start anew. So I'd have to say that always going, you know, to go back to my beginner mind and wake up every day saying, okay, this is the first day at the monastery, what can I learn today? And that's been extremely helpful. I think also the answer to that question for me is my family and friends have seen huge difference in me. And I just spent almost a month with my oldest sister, and they've seen so much change in me. And that's how the practice also works for me for others, is that they see how much I've changed and how much happier I am, how much more focused, how much more solid I am. And that's an advertisement for this practice. And there's probably many other things that I could say, but I'm kind of on the spot, so this is pretty much all I can think of at the moment. But it's just really important for me to always have, for the most part, being grateful every day for my life, being alive. I don't think I would be alive today if it wasn't for this practice. I really mean that because I was not very, I'm a recovering alcoholic and addict, and I probably wouldn't be on this earth today if I didn't have this practice. So with gratitude and love for the practice, I continue. Thank you.
Dear friends, thank you for having me back up. So, for some friends who are the overachieving type, they struggle with the idea that if they develop a practice, that it means they will be letting go of their ambition, of their drive for success. And I personally know this not to be the case, but sometimes it's difficult to explain why. So how would you explain that to this type of person?
Nyataida Sangha. You can hear me? Yeah. I thought for a moment that you had a twin brother. So can I repeat your question? Is how to explain to friends who are kind of overachievers?
Who are afraid that they will lose their ability to be successful by embracing this practice.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to share, actually for you to share with them. I guess you did already share with them, but maybe also to look with them at what they are looking for in their in the success. What is their need behind that? And it's, yeah, it's true that meditation is not so much, it's not really about succeeding, even if sometimes it's always nice to see that you had a good meditation and or, to acknowledge that oh, my concentration is quite good today, or to have a nice and very clear mind. But overall, we I think it's to make our life more meaningful. At least for me. We are here for a short time on that planet. I just turned 40 this year, and every year I see that it's shortening. It's a good thing actually, because it's reminding me each time that, don't lose your time. And each time is reminding me. So yeah, what do I really want to do with my life actually? So saying that actually would be a very good thing to ask them about. Let's say you have a few days to live. How would you like to live those days? What is actually the most important for you? And it's coming back to that beginner's mind of, like Clytie was sharing, that if we can really live each day like a new day, it's not an easy practice. It's very easy to fall into habits. But I know that if you surround yourself, like it's a little bit an answer to your question before, but if you surround yourself with other people who have the same kind of mind, and like the best is like a place like that, like a monastery with many people who are living together and have the same kind of mind, and have a schedule all together. You can really support each other on that path, and have a really meaningful life. And just also what came to my mind is that before I came to Plum Village for the first time, which was in 2008, 1 year before that I already wanted to come, but when I wanted to come was during the lazy days. So, and that was my holiday, so I've not been lucky. I could not come at that time. And it's almost 1 year after that suddenly I realized, but I wanted to come to Plum Village 1 year before. And what did I do since that? And I realized that, wow, I was so busy with just working and the everyday life that I kind of forgot about it. And it kind of really woke me up and strengthened my volition to go to Plum Village. So I went. It was a good thing, because after that I quit the job. And I came to live in Plum Village. Does that answer your question? Yeah? Thank you.
Dear friends, I'm going on my second week here, and I'm so grateful to have this space and time to come back to myself. I was very busy I live in intentional community and co-housing, and so there's just a lot of responsibilities, and I was sort of taking the lead in quite a few of the things, and I could not wait to come here. And when I came, I felt like the main afflictions that I was feeling was anger and a lot of defensiveness. And I think that developed, it's a hallmark of my life, but I think it was intensified by living in community, where there's so many personalities and so many opportunities to have conflict. And we're actually in a period of renewal where we're trying to develop more skillful ways to live together. And so so coming here, I felt the kind of the anger that I had at the way things were going there, and just personal affronts that I had experienced, and that I tried to reach out with the individual, and it just never really resolved itself, so I've become defensive. So probably I would say, I guess Sister Kay's not here. I spoke to one of the sisters when I first got here to see if I could have a consultation. Sorry. That was a really good lecture we had yesterday, because I just used the stopping and breathing. Anyway, so when I got here, I spoke to one of the sisters asking for a consultation because of what I was feeling, about the anger and the defensiveness. And, just a few things that she shared made me realize I'm not alone. I'm not alone in these kinds of feelings. And with just a little advice, to just do everything mindfully, basically, mindful walking, mindful breathing, mindful eating. And it felt like I had slipped into another state of being, like all of a sudden I didn't have that anger anymore. And I also had a resolution in something. I'm an artist, a visual artist, and it's just been stalled for a really long time. And I also had a breakthrough with that. That because I avoid my suffering, I see it in the world as well, and I have to kind of refrain from taking too much in, but I feel I need to resolve this and with my art to make it somewhat of a healing influence. Yes. So now, I find what's changed now in week 2 is it's now, Claudia used the word, it's, self-loathing. It's I'm afraid. And I'm afraid of being judged. And that I sort of internally beat myself up and project onto others really what happened to me as a child. So I'm really deeply in, the whirlwind. And I don't know that I can handle this alone. So, if you have any suggestions, I'd be grateful.
Dear community, dear Angela, thank you for your question. The other day, we had a Dharma Teacher Council BNT together, and it was a very emotional time for me. I just cried a lot. And there's an entrustment when we come to the community to be able to open ourselves and be who we are, and at the same time to begin anew, to always begin anew. So practicing together with others with that understanding is very freeing, because often out in the world we don't have that chance to really bare our soul or feel deeply the things that we're feeling. Or we feel it, but we push it aside, or we try to hide it because it doesn't feel safe. So I think it's very important to recognize when we're in a safe environment that we are in a safe environment. So we can put down one very big burden of trying to hide. Some kind of pretense that doesn't allow us to really deeply touch and start to heal. Okay? So firstly, you're in an environment that recognizes that we're all changing every day. We're all on the path changing and practicing to transform very deep, sometimes very deep wounds, very old hurts, things that have been passed to us from generations before. So give yourself permission to just be vulnerable, to not have everything together, and also to begin anew. Okay? In Buddhist psychology, we know that we are made of many different mental formations being one of the 5 skandhas. And when the conditions are there, anger will come up, or fear, loathing. And when we practice mindfulness, we start to uncover the causes and conditions in the present moment of what's watering that seed to have it suddenly flare up. And as we recognize what they are, then we can better take care of how we move in the environment to not water those seeds anymore. So when Sister Nghiem shared about the basic practices, they're all ways to anchor our mind in the present moment so that our seed of mindfulness becomes stronger and stronger. So even though those big seeds of anger, fear, etc. are still there, if we're lucky enough, that condition to grow our mindfulness, it helps us to slowly embrace and begin in it, embrace and begin in it. So this is an ongoing path. We should give ourselves permission to be imperfect. And honestly, all of us are like that. So you're right, you're not alone. We're all moving forward, sometimes staggering forward. But we're all moving forward together with the guidelines of our teacher and our practice. So give yourself permission to be human. Yeah, Claudia said it very well. We're all human. Give yourself permission to be human, but also hold fast to the practices. So once we touch a strong emotion, it's important to find an anchor. There's a beautiful gatha that compares our mind to the blue sky, and the feelings that come and go are like the clouds. So the clouds are impermanent, but sometimes out of habit we identify with those feelings. We're angry, therefore we're a bad person, we're an angry person. But it's just a conditional, passing phenomenon. So what holds us, what anchors us back so that we can touch our blue skyness is the practice. So while we're here, whether it's 1 week or 2 weeks or a month, the very basic practices of walking meditation and sitting meditation are very important for us to ground ourselves in, to learn more about, and to establish a daily routine, even if it's a little bit at a time. And we will see, with the support of others around us, we will see that our stability grows over time.
Welcome back to Lân. Lân có câu hỏi nào không? Do you have any question? And Sin.
So, dear Brother Quang, I have a question from one of my siblings about aversion. And I would like to address this to Brother Quang because he's a very joyful and kind brother. And personally, I see it's very easy for me to come to connect with him. So the question is about aversion. There's two aspects. The first part is, how do you practice when you feel some kind of aversion for someone in the community? And the second side is kind of aversion, but not because of an internal knot, but because the other person is just too kind. They're too maybe they too much. Maybe they come too much, or they're just too much of too sweet. Yeah. And I ask this in particular about monastics because I know as monastics we practice work, study, practice, play, service, being there for ourselves, being there for others. and to try to find a balance between being present for all of that. So I wonder how Tejin Quang finds that balance, how he practices, if ever aversion comes up for him. Thank you.
Thank you, dear sister. That last question, I think I will give the one Dhamma talk. Um, every day I practice the gatha. Thức dậy thì mình cười. When I wake up, I smile. We have 24-hour practice to practice. I'm going to when I practice that gatha, it's morning time. I see my brother in the restaurant. I smile, and when I smile, I receive a lot of them. They smile back. When I practice like that, I open my mind, open my opinion, my idea, and after that, I receive a lot from them. I have a difficulty too, but when I join a sangha, I receive a lot from the brothers and sisters. When I have difficulty, I come and tea with them. And sometimes I cannot come with them. I practice with myself for the listen to the music I like, or watching the one or two video clips I like. And after that, I come back to myself and no more difficulty. And she asked me about the balance with the play and study and service the sangha. And do you know I play a lot? Sometimes I'm so lazy to practice. I remember one time when I was the retreat in YMCA. At that time, he came there teaching the retreat with the sangha, and I work in the CD room. I recording the Thai talk and edit the Dhamma talk, and for the brothers and sisters to sell the Dhamma talk. But when the brothers asked me, please go out and go hiking, I put everything there and go with them. That's why I play a lot. But beside that, I am very have duty with the sangha, have a responsibility with the sangha. If sangha give for me the job or the work to do, a thing to do, I want to finish. If I cannot finish, I can ask my brothers or sister to help me. And if you cannot do, you can ask. If we ask like that, everyone, I think they open to help you. That's why this sister said that I so sweet because some sisters, some brothers, they need me help. That's why they open and ask me, and I open to myself to help them. Sometimes they have problem with the computer, or problem with the iPad or the internet, something like that. I want to open and learn more to help them. Something I don't know about that, but I want to learn. I go to the internet or YouTube and learn how to fix that. But she said that I so sweet, but I think I I I not sweet like that. Sometimes I have difficulty in myself, and but I want to share. This morning I feel unhappy. Something I share directly with the Sister Nghiem already. Yeah, we want to open and share, and after that we receive a lot. And I offer my time and my life for the Sangha. And when I choose this Sangha, I know I'm the lucky monk. When I shared my story, sometimes I so mm, so difficult in myself. I take my motorbike and run around, and now I don't want to do like that because in around me I have a lot of brothers and sisters. They so sweet and help me. They so sweet too, but not me. Thank you, sister. It's enough. Yeah, thank you. And now we the end of time, and I would like to say thank you for you the ask the question, and say thank you the brother Lee and to sister up here and go up and help me to sharing the answer to the question this morning, and wish you have a good day today. Enjoy the snow and enjoy the walking meditation after that. Thank you.